A Parentless Heartswarming by Midsummer. First chapter. Only chapter. Why me? The day of Heartswarming Eve, one of the most happy holidays celebrated by every pony in Equestria, in Ponyville. It celebrates the friendship and love that is shared between us all. And it's thanks to those two things that we all live in harmony with one another. However, it isn't like thousands of years ago before Celestia and Luna took the throne. There was once strong hatred between the Earth, Pegasi, and Unicorn tribes that plunged the land into a severe blizzard, which caused even more tension between the three tribes. Eventually, this caused the leaders of each tribe to be frozen solid, forever trapped within the barrenness toward each other by the space spectral wendigos. By good fortune, though, their assistants expressed no hate for one another. Instead, they expressed the first sign of friendship. With that, the fire of friendship was created to disperse the wendigos and thaw out the land and their commanders. From then on, the tribes were united together and lived together in peace. How do I know this? Well, I performed in a play with my friends in the town of Canterlot. I portrayed the assistant Smart Cookie to the Earth Pony tribe leader Chancellor Puddinghead. Forgive me for not improperly introducing myself. The name's Applejack. I'm an Earth Pony who resides and works at Sweet Apple Acres on the outskirts of Ponyville. I'm also the bearer of the element of harmony, honesty. My 5 other friends bear the remaining 5 elements: kindness, laughter, loyalty, generosity, and the most powerful one of them all, magic, which is bared by Twilight Sparkle, who has reached Alicorn status. Every once in a while, we like to call her Princess, or Your Majesty, just to give her a hard time, but she knows we're just having fun with her. Together with our elements, we saved Equestria from abominations that threatened harmony and our friendship. I say that because there have been a few situations that almost broke us up, especially with that farm at Discord. Despite these obstacles, me and my friends prevailed. Back on the subject of heartswarming. I feel so blessed to be granted with such great friends to celebrate it with. Not only do we celebrate the birth of friendship, but we also give each other gifts to thank each other for support and how much they show. Also, it's a time for families to get together as well. Family. It's always that word that gets me down every year. Don't get me wrong, I love my family with all my heart. They're one of my most valued treasures I hold dear. Problem is, there's just a couple of things missing from our family photo. Even though it's mighty huge, it would be difficult to spot anything missing, which is why I tell you. It's Ma and Pa. When I first heard the news of their untimely death in a carriage accident from Granny and Mac when I was a young filly, I first denied it because it didn't seem true at all. There's no way they could be gone forever. When I found out they weren't lying to me, I got to my room, locked the door behind me so no pony would get in. I jumped on my bed to soak my pillow with tears and mucus as I wept helplessly. It wasn't fair they were gone. It just wasn't fair! It was the day of heartswarming when they died, and that they were coming home using that carriage which took their lives. I know Granny and Mac were broken by this unfortunate event, but I was completely shattered like a glass hitting a hard surface at high velocity. It wasn't fair to Apple Bloom either, because she hardly got to know them. She was only a few weeks old. When I finally calmed down, after what seemed to be hours to me, I pulled my face away from my spoiled pillow and trotted over to the mirror in my room. When I saw my reflection, I looked like a total mess. My eyes were bloodshot red and had a few crusty tears beneath them. My mane was messy and unkempt, like it just stuck a hoof in an electrical outlet, and a few strands of slightly dry mucus hung from my nostrils and my muzzle. When I finished cleaning myself up, I unlocked the door to my room and opened it. I was surprised to find Granny and Max standing outside my room with worried expressions on both their faces. I don't know how long they'd been standing there, but strangely it didn't bother me. I knew they were there to check up on me, after even I heartlessly locked them out. After I reassured them that I was okay now, they both trotted over to me and hugged me close with their hooves wrapped around my back. I hugged them back and started crying again, but not as bad as before. Certainly, all 3 of us were weeping into one another. It showed that we were all sharing the same grief on this supposed to be happy holiday. Soon we were interrupted by Apple Bloom's cries from her crib. We all came into her room to comfort her. It was hard to tell if she was feeling the heartache we were experiencing, or if she was just doing what helpless holes do best. Either way, we all gave her the love and attention she needed. So here I am now, a full-grown mare, living the best life any pony could ask for. I just wish Ma and Pa could be here to see it. I'm aware they're watching me from above, smiling at the progress I've made in my life. I know they're proud of me, but I still wish you were here so I could talk, feel, and hug them. It would be wonderful if they got to meet my friends as well. I know they would get along perfectly. I woke up as the rays of the faint sunlight passed over my eyes. Since it was too cold for the roosters, every pony on the farm relied on Celestia's sun to wake them up. I combed and tied my mane up in its usual ponytail before placing my brown Stetson on my head. Apparently, it belonged to Pa, which is why it was my most prized possession, and my reminder of him. I then grabbed a quick bite to eat before I wrapped a scarf around my neck and placed my forehooves into my snow boots. Just because it was Hearthwarming Eve doesn't mean that there were chores that needed to be done. The snow in the apple trees wasn't going to bug itself off by it, you know. As I worked clearing the trees of heavy snow, I was thinking about the fun my friends were having. I felt happy for them, but it sort of made me feel unawful. The worst part of it is they were all away. Rainbow and Fluttershy traveled to Cloudsdale to meet with their relatives, while Twilight and Rarity went to Canterlot for their own vacation. Twilight, of course, was visiting her parents, while Rarity was there to attend a Hearthwarming Eve ball. Pinkie visited her parents and three sisters at their old rock farm to throw a party as usual. Thanks to Pinkie, the Pies were no longer a depressed and gloomy bunch like they once were. Well, maybe except Maud. My friends, however, did ask if I was going to be all right, since I would be left here alone in Ponyville with Granny, Big Mac, and Apple Bloom. I regretfully told them I would be okay because the family and farm needed me. They didn't have to worry about me either, so they could easily enjoy themselves. I wish I could have thought my answer more, so I would have told them so. But I really didn't want them to change their plans for me, or to even cancel them. I was no selfish pony. As time drew on, I was slightly growing more and more depressed, and frustrating at myself for not being completely honest with my friends. That sounds kind of odd for coming from the element of honesty to say that sort of thing. I mean, what's the point of being an honest pony if you can't be honest with yourself? My mood for the holiday wasn't getting much better either. When I reached the last tree, I bucked it as hard as I could to drain out some of my frustration. The tree luckily didn't crack, but unfortunately had a lot of snow piled up on him. I screamed as an avalanche of heavy snow cascaded down on me and buried me in a large lump. A second later, I popped my head up and stared down at myself. I was buried up to my neck in a cold blanket of frozen raindrops. I looked silly and pathetic like this. I stared at the sky and began talking to it as tears started to well up in my eyes. Why did you have to leave us like this, Mom, Pa? Why did you have to go when it was the day when we all were supposed to get together and spend the holidays laughing and exchanging gifts of love? It's so darn cruel! I know I shouldn't be angry at my parents because it wasn't their fault. If anyone was to blame, it was death itself. But my heart was racing and my head was pounding and I wasn't thinking straight. Why did you do this to me? Granny, Mac, Apple Bloom and Garland got to know you. She was a fool for Celestia's sake. Don't you know that's too young to remember who your own parents are? You abandoned her when she was too young to know anything about the world around her. What good of that comes out of it, huh? What? Receiving no response, I managed to pop my two forehooves out from the snow, and used them to cover up my eyes as I sobbed openly. I haven't cried like this in years. After about, I'm guessing, 45 seconds, I heard a familiar female voice ask, Applejack, are you all right? I looked up from my hooves to gaze into the concerned face of one of my friends. Twilight sparkled. Twilight? What are y'all doing here? I thought you were in Canterlot visiting your folks. I said as I wiped my eyes dry. I was surprised to see her here. I was going to last night, but I felt bad for leaving you here after you said you were going to be fine. We all did, Twilight explained. We? I asked. I then looked behind her and noticed that my other friends were wearing the exact same expression. I couldn't help but form a small smile on my muzzle. Well, golly, girls, it's mighty nice of you to do that for me, but you really didn't have to, I said with a small blush. Why wouldn't we? Celebrating Hearthwarming Eve wouldn't be as much fun without you around, AJ. We just can't leave you hanging, Rainbow said, shrugging her forehead as he levitated by her flapping wings. What kind of friends would we be then? What about your plans, though? Surely Rare here would have loved to go to that ball and panter lot, I said, looking at Rarity. I'd run into that uncouth royal black bluebud. Forget about it, Rarity said, simmering at the idea. Ugh, I would rather be with you girls instead. But what about the rest of you meeting with your family? I asked curiously. Piggy decided to invite all our parents and relatives to Ponyville and have a party at Circuit Q Corner. Thankfully, they all agreed to come. Right, Pinky? Twilight said, turning to the party pony. Yes, indeed, Pinky replied enthusiastic, with a wide and toothy smile. It wouldn't be a party, though, without you. So, y'all mean you changed your plans for this year so we can spend Hearthwarming together? I asked with now happy tears of joy starting to flood my eyes. If that's all right with you, Flora sang in a bare, audible tone. Of course it's all right with me! Gus, the best friends any pony like me could ask for, I said, with a stream of tears beginning to flow down my cheeks and stinging the frozen air. Pretty much more than that, darling, Rarity said. I raised a brow in confusion. What do you mean by that, Rare? Well, see, Rarity stuttered, as if trying to find the correct sentence. What's he trying to say, Applejack, is that we all know that you lost your parents on the day of Hearthwarming Eve. You were completely devastated by your loss. All of us knew that you would not be all right when this holiday arrived. We felt it was better if you spent Hearthwarming with us, Tony explained. But what was the point of Rare saying that you guys are more than just my friends? I asked, wanting to know where this was going. Friends can be your family as well, Applejack, Twilight said with a soothing smile. That's the point. I was just about to say something else, but nothing came out. I was completely speechless. I never knew that my friends could be like family members to you. Didn't seem logical. But I knew Twilight and the others were right. My friends were very trustworthy, and I should never doubt anything they tell me. After processing what I'd just been told, I smiled and hugged Twilight, sobbing happily. Thank you, Twilight. Thank you all for coming back to me. I don't know what could have become of me if you all weren't here today. I choked. Twilight gently wrapped her wings over my back and hugged me back with them. It's what friends do, Twilight said, and nuzzled my neck when I did with hers. Soon we were all hugging each other, which warmed us all in the freezing weather. When our hug broke, Twilight then said, Why don't you bring your other family members too, if they don't have any other plans? I'm sure we can find some way to transport your grandmother into town so she doesn't have to face this weather. I thought for a moment and couldn't help but chuckle. I think that will be wonderful. I'm sure they'll be grateful for your offer. Well, what are you waiting for? Go and tell them already! I'm eager to get this party going! Piggy said, bouncing nonstop. We'll wait for you right here. Are you sure you don't want any hot apple cider first? You'll almost be freezing, I offered. That actually sounds like a better idea. Why not? Twilight said, smiling. We all laughed and talked while we tried back to the farmhouse to escape the cold weather. I've never felt this happy on Hearthwarming Eve at all. I've always been so miserable on this occasion, because my family at the farm is so small, now that Hearthwarming just wasn't as fun or happy as it used to be. Now that I've learned friendship is part of my family, my perspective on life has gotten way better. Surely, it would be great if my parents were alive. But I know they would want this for me. Not only is friendship magical, it's family as well. Short, sweet, to the point, I got nothing. This, once again, I go to ponies for the awesome epic adventures, but there's something else I go for these fanfics. It's short little heartwarming stories like this. Well, now, holidays, what else do you got for me? I'm ready to hit the road. Once upon a time, there was a princess who used to babysit a young filly. Her name was Twilight Sparkle. Cadence, why are you narrating the next fanfic? Come on, tell me a story! A story, a story, a story! Twilight, I'll get to you in a minute. I just wanted to let the audience know what fic is next. Oh, am I in it? Am I in it? Yes, Twilight, you're in it. As a matter of fact, the next fic is all about you. Really? Yes, Twilight, really. It's all about you. Coming up next, Cadence tells Twilight a heartwarming bedtime story. Oh, it's going to be really adventurous! We'll see you then.